Honor, so just to get started, I have for the court the charge from the state. Our request is providing a copy to counsel. I obviously know we're not going to talk about them now, but the state does have some proposed charges that are not pattern charges, so I wanted to give the court more time to
I appreciate that.
look at anything that, if I may, this has a banana clip, but this is the original that the state provided.
Have they been filed in Peach Court?
They have not been, but I can if the court wishes.
That would help so that the staff attorneys would have access.
If you want, Judge, then I'll take that and I'll give you a courtesy copy.
That'll
And
work.
I'll provide the original to
That'll
the
work.
court.
Okay.
Your Honor, when would you like my requested charge to be filed?
Obviously the next day or so.
Yeah, okay,
There is.
if I get it in, by tomorrow night, will that be?
That's fine.
Okay.
That's
And
fine.
I'm giving the court a courtesy copy now then. That's first, Your Honor. Second, I have two witnesses for this afternoon. Given the time, it seems like it will probably take us close to the end of the day. What we have, as it's 2 o'clock now, it is the Christian Johnson from the GBI will be testifying concerning the records that need to come in for the witness that follows him, which is Agent Burney from the FBI, who is handling the cellular site analysis. My expectation then, Your Honor, was for us to have witnesses for tomorrow. The reality, though, is the way we have gone so quickly, I have all of my witnesses tomorrow are flying in except for Agent Sands. The state would like to conclude with Agent Sands, and so what we're trying to do is two of those witnesses won't be here until the plane lands. So what I was hoping is...
Which could be whenever.
Well,
10:45.
well, they should be here easily for the afternoon session. What I was hoping was that maybe we could tell the jury to come in at 10 instead of 9, so we wouldn't waste their time. And now might be kind of the opportune time to let them know that we're moving significantly faster. I anticipate the state will close and will rest tomorrow, finishing up with the remaining witnesses and finally with Agent Sands. So that is our expectation, and that should be done by the end of the day, is my hope.
All right, but the first witness for tomorrow will not be available until when?
So we have 2 witnesses, but there's going to be a gap then, because we have 4 witnesses for essentially the morning and then Agent Sands. The problem is that 2 of them don't land until 10:40, and so I can't physically make them get here before.
Well, they won't be here until after lunch. At
Correct,
least.
correct. So,
So you think 2 in the morning and then 2 in the afternoon?
So I have 3 witnesses in the morning, but they'll be brief.
Okay.
That's
Then I'll just let them come in a little later tomorrow.
that was what I thought, and we figured, I know you were hoping to tell them now.
I'll tell them at the end of the day.
That's fine, Your Honor. I think that's it for me.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it for the state.
Just wait and hear from the bailiff about the last juror. So. All right, we're ready. You can bring him in. All right, everyone, please be seated. If state would please call the next witness.
Your Honor, at this time, the state calls Christian Johnson.
Good afternoon. Please raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please have a seat. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you please state and spell your name for the court reporter?
Yes, my name is Christian Johnson. That's CHRISTIAN
Where do you work?
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Would it be fair to call you then Agent Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How long have you been with the GBI?
Been with the GBI almost 7 years.
And in what capacity are you with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation?
I'm assigned as a special agent.
And did you work in law enforcement before you joined the GBI?
I did.
Where did you work?
The Dalton Police Department.
How long were you there?
Nearly 3 years.
So would it be fair to say about how long total?
9 years will be September.
Okay. And did you receive specialized training to become a law enforcement officer with the Dalton Police Department?
I did.
And subsequent to that, when you joined the GBI, did you receive additional GBI agent training?
I did.
Did you pass and qualify in both of those capacities?
Yes, I did.
And as a result, when you joined the GBI, did there come a time when you became assigned to a field office?
Yes, that's correct.
Where do you work?
Now I'm assigned to the Region 1 field office in Calhoun. However, I spent the majority of my career at the Region 5 field office in Statesboro.
During that time period, when were you assigned to the Statesboro office?
That would have been in January of 2019 until this past January.
So you left in this past January?
That's correct.
You said you're still with the GBI then?
Yes, ma'am. Still with the GBI, just another field office.
Okay. And while in your capacity as a special agent with the GBI in Region 5, did you have occasion to work with Special Agent Tracy Sands in conjunction with this case?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell the jury what role you played in connection with this investigation?
Essentially, my role was that of a supporting agent. I wrote many of the search warrants to obtain records in this case.
Can you tell the jury what a search warrant is?
Yes, ma'am. So essentially, a search warrant is a legal document that seeks authorization to perform a search. That may look different. It varies case to case. It could be a search on a place, a person, or a record.
Okay. And with respect to search warrants in conjunction with records, did you perform any or request any search warrants for records?
Yes, I did.
Specifically, I'm going to direct your attention first to Airbnb.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the jury how you would go about getting a search warrant?
Yes, ma'am. So I would draft the search warrant. I would present that to a judge, and if they saw probable cause for the issuance of the warrant, I would then serve that to the provider, in this case Airbnb.
And would you be specific as to what it was you were looking for?
Yes, so in this case we were looking for account details or records associated with Nicholas Kassotis.
Okay. And at the time that you made that request for a search warrant, was one granted?
Yes, it was.
Did you serve that on anyone?
I did.
Who did you serve that on?
It was on Airbnb.
Okay. And when you say you serve that, what does that mean exactly?
So for many business entities, service is electronic, whether it be through a law enforcement portal where they receive legal process or through an email address.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes, I did.
Did you receive a response to your request from Airbnb?
I did.
And how did that response come into you?
It came electronically.
Okay. Were you able to specify any particular addresses or locations with respect to Airbnb data other than just Mr. Kassotis' name?
I'm sorry, so you asked for an address?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So an address of interest in this case, I believe, is 311 East 65th Street in Savannah, Georgia, which is where it's believed that Mr. Kassotis rented an Airbnb.
Okay. And was that information sought as well?
Yes, it was.
Did you receive response from them concerning all of that?
Yes, I did.
And with those documents, were they preserved in their original format electronically when you received them?
Yes, they were.
Prior to actually seeking out that search warrant, can you tell the jury whether or not well, let me back up. How did you know that address?
So during the investigation, at a point, the evidence determined that Mr. Kassotis had rented an Airbnb with his then wife, Mindi, and we made contact with the Airbnb owner and had a conversation with her, and also procured screenshots of messages within Airbnb between Mr. Kassotis and the Airbnb owner.
Okay, and did you personally observe those messages?
I did.
As a result, were you able to see a profile picture associated with that Airbnb?
Yes, I did.
And were you able to receive phone numbers connected
Yes.
to that Airbnb account?
Yes, I did.
Did you see also screenshots between the owner of the Airbnb and who you believe to be the occupant of the residence?
Yes.
And who was that occupant?
Nicholas Kassotis.
And was that number and his name affixed on those screenshots?
Yes, it was.
When you saw that information, did that assist you in preparing the affidavit to secure the search warrants?
Yes, it did.
Did that also provide you, withdrawn, did you seek search warrants for any other locations other than Airbnb?
Look, other business records, yes, ma'am.
Okay, what business records were those?
So one was T-Mobile, another was AT&T, and Verizon as well.
Okay. Now, just to be clear, can a search warrant request be denied?
Yes, it can.
And in this case, were they granted or denied?
They were granted.
Would that be to all of the locations, meaning business record locations that you just referred to?
Yes, that's correct.
So which search warrants, well, let me back up. Were there other search warrants as well?
Yes, there were.
Okay. Specifically today, we're going to only refer to Airbnb, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon with respect to the search warrants, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you receive a response from each of those providers in respect to those search warrants?
Yes.
How did those come to you? You indicated electronically for Airbnb. How did the other ones come in?
They were all electronic.
Okay. And when they come in electronically, can you tell us what a declaration is?
Yes, ma'am. So it's essentially a certification of business records. The custodian of records will include that document to show that it's a valid and true depiction of the records that the business entity has at that time.
Okay. And did you receive one for each of those providers, meaning Airbnb,
Yes.
AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk specifically about Airbnb. When you received those records, were you able to look at those records?
Yes, I was.
Did you provide them to anybody else in conjunction with this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Who?
Special Agent Jay Burney of the FBI.
Okay. Did you also provide them to anybody within the GBI?
Yes, I did.
Who did you turn them over to?
The GBI uses analysts that are embedded in our field offices. So in this case, that would have been Lakita Lee.
Was there a time period that you were seeking to request those records for?
Yes, there was.
Do you recall what that time period was?
I believe that was October 1st, 2022 to May 10th of 2023.
And with respect to the Airbnb, if I may, Your Honor, may I approach? Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
You indicated that you sought a request for Airbnb, is that correct?
That's correct.
Can you tell us, would that affidavit incorporate the date range of what records you were seeking?
Yes, ma'am, it would.
Would it also include whose accounts specifically you were requesting?
Yes, ma'am.
And you indicated Nicholas Kassotis, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also seek any information concerning any other names?
Yes, ma'am. It was our understanding that Mr. Kassotis was also going by another name or had changed his name at that time, which was Nicholas Killian James Stark.
When you made the request, was that incorporated as well?
Yes, it was.
And with respect to those records, can you tell us, you indicated October of what year?
2022.
Were you able to determine if there were records before that as well that you received?
Yes, ma'am.
And when was the initiating period of that time frame requested and received?
I believe that would have been June 30th of 2022.
Okay, and so what did you receive from which date to which date inclusive?
Yes, ma'am. I believe that's June 30th to May 10th. June 30th of 22, excuse me, and then May 10th of 2023.
Okay, and did you ultimately determine by reviewing those records whether or not the period of that rental at the 311 East 65th Street in Savannah was included?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it?
Yes.
Did it indicate a time period in which that rental was held by Mr. Kassotis?
Yes, ma'am, it did.
And what was that rental dates?
I think that was June 30th of 2022 to December 13th of 2022.
And were you also able to confirm the information provided to you by the owner of the Airbnb, Ms. Hanson?
Yes.
The records that you received, did it indicate who the owner of that account was?
Yes, it did.
And what was that owner's name?
Nicholas Kassotis.
Did you have an opportunity to confirm payment for that Airbnb through any other business records?
Yes, ma'am, I did. We also obtained Renaissance Bank records for Mr. Kassotis, which corroborated the payment for Airbnb.
Okay. So now, at this time, I'm going to ask you, prior to your testimony today, did you have an opportunity to review the electronic records from Airbnb as they were received from them by you?
Yes, ma'am.
And were they on what is in evidence that states 1.101?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And at this time, Your Honor, I am going to seek to introduce the exhibits electronically that are listed on 1.101 as certified business records folder with a subfolder Airbnb and then Airbnb production. Is that the records you're referring to?
Yes, it is.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
They're admitted.
Thank you. Now, you indicated that there were Renaissance Bank records as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And those Renaissance Bank records, how did you go about securing those?
Via search warrant.
Okay. And when those materials were requested, did you ultimately receive them back?
Yes, I did.
And whose name was the account holder that you were looking for from Renaissance Bank records?
Nicholas Kassotis.
And did you in fact receive a response from that request?
I did.
Now, specifically, was that received electronically as well?
Yes, it was.
Prior to your testimony here today, did you have occasion to again look at the records that were electronically documented on 1.101, the USB?
Yes.
Are those the same records that you received in response to your request from Renaissance Bank?
Yes, they are.
And at this time, Your Honor, I would seek to introduce the records that are listed under Renaissance Bank in the subfolder of certified and business records on 1.101.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
They're admitted.
And with respect to those records, did you have occasion to look to determine whose account was in fact received?
Yes.
And whose account was that?
It was Nicholas Kassotis.
Okay. And on those records, did it list a search?
Yes, it did.
And that was included within the electronic discovery?
That's right.
Okay. Ultimately, did you give those records to anyone in connection with this case?
Yes, I did.
Who did you give those records to?
Both the GBI analyst, Lee, and FBI agent, Jay Burney.
Okay. And those bank records, ultimately, I'm referring specifically to the account ending in 141. Is that what you're referring to here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you testified that you had a conversation with the owner of the, well, let me back up. You had seen screenshots from the owner of the Airbnb, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And during those screenshots, you ultimately viewed them on the Airbnb records?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to determine what phone number was being communicated with at that time?
Yes, I did. Would you like me to say
Yes,
that
please,
phone
if
number?
you know.
It's 912 47. I'm sorry, I have to refresh my memory. 4750.
Did you actually have the screenshot in front of you?
I did.
Okay, and when you saw that screenshot, what did you do with that information from the screenshot?
So at that time, I took that wireless number and determined that it is a T-Mobile line, and ultimately wrote a search warrant for that number.
And did you submit that search warrant to a judge?
Yes, I did.
Was it granted?
It was.
Did you serve or give that search warrant to anyone?
Yes.
Who did you give it to?
T-Mobile, their law enforcement response center.
And when you sent that information to T-Mobile, did you receive a response from them?
Yes, I did.
Did that include a declaration page as well?
It did.
And did you receive the electronic page with all of the data as well in it?
Yes, I did.
With respect to that information, just so we're clear for the record, can you tell us what type of information you received from T-Mobile?
Yeah, so in that production, there is essentially spreadsheets that show call detail records and also data sessions, as well as subscriber information, excuse me. And those all show incoming and outgoing calls and data sessions within the time frame requested.
And who did you believe that phone number, 912-482-4570, to belong to at that time?
Nicholas Kassotis.
And ultimately, did you turn those records over to Agent Sands?
Yes, I did.
Did you also turn them over to anyone else?
Yes.
Who did you turn them over to?
Special Agent Bernie.
And just curiously, why did you turn them over to Agent Bernie from the FBI?
So Agent Bernie serves on a unit called CAST, stands for Cellular Analysis and Survey Team. He can take call detail records and go in depth and really map those to show locations or certain communication patterns.
Do you do that yourself?
I do it sometimes, yes.
Okay. And so in this case, were you aware of what materials he was going to need?
Yes, I was.
And did you provide those to him?
Yes.
Did the period of time that you requested cover the dates surrounding this incident?
Yes, they did.
And would that include the days leading up to December 2nd of 2022
Yes.
and the days thereafter?
Yes.
Did you secure any records from any other phone providers other than T-Mobile?
Yes, I secured records from AT&T and Verizon.
Okay, let's start with AT&T. How many phones did you try to get from AT&T's information?
So just one wireless record. However, I also obtained records pertaining to telematics for a vehicle.
Okay, and so for those records, let me back up. Let's talk first about the telematics. Did you have a vehicle identification number that you were seeking?
Yes, I did.
And that vehicle identification number, was that recovered during the course of the investigation?
It was.
And did you provide that to AT&T when you made the request?
Yes, I did.
Would it be fair to say that's a really long number?
It is.
Do you recall that number off the top of your head?
I do not.
If I can just have one moment. May I approach your honor?
Yes.
I'm handing you 1.19 in evidence. Can you turn to the second page, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a vehicle identification number that is consistent with this case?
Yes, there is.
And can you just tell us what vehicle identification number you attempted to secure in connection with this case records for?
Yes, it appears to be 1FMSK7DH7NGBI B37068.
And you indicated telematics. Was that with respect to what type of a device?
A vehicle. Some vehicles are outfitted with a wireless, a SIM card similar to what you would find on a phone.
Okay. And did you receive a response from AT&T concerning that vehicle identification number data?
Yes, I did.
And was that received electronically?
It was.
Did you have a declaration page in that as well?
Yes.
And did you receive that in its entirety in a format that you forwarded to someone?
Yes, I did.
Who did you provide that to?
Special Agent Bernie.
I'm now referring to the State's Exhibit 1.101. Did you have an opportunity before your testimony here today to look at the records for AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon concerning the records that you received?
Yes, I did.
Were those complete, true, and accurate copies of what you received from those providers?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'm going to seek to introduce on the State's Exhibit 1.101 under the folder FBI Cast Cell Phone Productions. There are subfolders for AT&T, AT&T Ford, T-Mobile Production, Verizon Production, and Verizon and T-Mobile Data Sessions.
No objection, John. They're admitted.
Thank you. You had a chance to look at them before your testimony, right?
Yes, I did.
Were those the records that you received from each of those companies?
Yes.
And did you turn all of those over to Agent Bernie of the FBI?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And again, the time periods in question that were sought for each of those, were those included in your search warrant?
Yes, they were.
And what was the time range that you sought for each of those?
I believe it was October 1st, 2022 to May 10th of 2023.
Okay. And why did you stop on May 10th of 2023?
I believe that was the day that I submitted the warrants themselves, so you can't write a search warrant for future records, if that makes sense.
Okay. And those responses incorporated all of those dates that you just referred to?
Yes.
Okay. Now, referencing phone number 434-964-8328 at Verizon, well, actually, before I move on, was there a device that was believed to be attributed to Mrs. Kassotis, Miss Mindi?
A device or a wireless number?
A wireless number.
Yes.
Okay. And was that sought as well?
Yes, it was.
Were records received as well from the provider?
Yes.
Was that in the same format as what you've previously described?
Yes, ma'am.
Are those included in the documents that I just referred to when I said AT&T records?
Yes.
Was hers also an AT&T device?
Yes, ma'am, a wireless number.
Okay. And I keep
That's
saying
okay.
device, my apologies. What's the difference?
So a device technically refers to the actual phone in your hand. The wireless number is that number associated with it that the business entity, in this case AT&T, would have records for.
So you didn't actually have the phone?
That's correct.
You just knew the number they were using?
Yes.
Okay. And as a result, are those the records you sought?
Yes, ma'am.
So even if you don't have a phone, can you get those records from the phone company?
Yes, ma'am.
Do they preserve them?
They do for a time.
And does that vary from provider to provider?
It does.
Now, other than the Ford VIN number and the cellular number or the wireless number, did you then get records from Verizon concerning a wireless number as well?
Yes, I did.
And specifically, do you recall the number that you got from that phone?
I don't.
Okay. One moment. If I showed you something, would that refresh your recollection?
Yes, ma'am, it would.
Showing the witness a copy of the warrant. Please take a look at that and let us know if that refreshes your recollection.
Yes, ma'am, it does.
And what number were you seeking in conjunction with the Verizon number?
That number is 434-96.
Did you submit a search warrant for that?
Yes, I did.
And did you get a response from that search warrant?
I did.
Can you tell us how did you or why did you seek that specific number?
Yes, ma'am. So this number was associated on a police report from Lancaster Police Department when Mr. Kassotis reported his vehicle was on fire.
Did he provide a phone number to the Lancaster Police Department in conjunction with that report?
Yes, he did.
And as a result, were you able to use that number to try and seek records?
Yes.
So the T-Mobile records were from the screenshots with Ms. Hansen, is that right?
Correct.
And then these were from the police report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the time period associated with those records, would that be the same, October 1st through May, October 1st of 2022 through May 10th of 2023?
Yes, it is.
And again, did you turn those over to anyone?
Yes, ma'am. Special Agent Bernie.
Okay. Do you also turn all of those records over to anybody within the GBI?
Special Agent Sands, as well as our analyst, Ms. Lee.
Why would you give them to the analyst?
The analyst has different software that sometimes helps in analytics of different records, organizes information in a way that it's easier for us to produce leads or otherwise analyze it, understand it.
Okay. And with respect to the bank records, do you know if any documentation or reports were generated as a result of reviewing those bank records?
Yes, ma'am. I believe Ms. Lee generated a report.
Okay. And you yourself did not, though?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I have no further questions for this witness.
I have no question, John.
All right. Thank you, Agent. You're excused. Our next witness, please.
The state calls Special Agent Jay Burney from the FBI.
Sure. Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
If you would please raise your right hand and take the oath.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May I?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Special Agent Burney.
Good afternoon.
Can you please state and spell your full name for the court reporter?
Yeah, my name is James, last name Bernie, B-E-R-N-I.
Where do you work, sir?
I'm a special agent in the FBI.
How long have you been with them?
Almost 18 years.
What do you do in the FBI?
So I'm currently part of the FBI's CAST team, C-A-S-T.
What does that stand for?
So that stands for Cellular Analysis Survey Team.
And what does the CAST team do?
Yeah, so CAST is a team that was stood up by the FBI in 2009 after the FBI noticed an increased use of cell phone records in criminal trials. So CAST team members like myself specialize in both active and historical cell phone and social media tracking.
Okay. Do you have any education that rendered you able to perform those duties?
I mean, we get training specifically from the FBI, but I do have some relevant training that was prior to the FBI.
Okay, and what was that?
So I spent 10 years active duty in the United States Army. The last 6 years, I worked at the National Security Agency, or NSA, where my job was to track Department of Defense high-value targets in Iraq and Afghanistan, using their communication devices like cell phones and satellite phones.
Would it be fair to say that's almost exactly what you're doing now?
Yes, very relevant, correct.
Okay. And for how long were you doing that?
I did that for 6 years in the NSA.
Okay. And when you started with the FBI, what was your role when you first came in?
As a special agent, my job was to investigate criminal offenses. So I worked mostly violent crime cases, gun cases, drugs, kidnappings, those kinds of things.
Okay. At some point, you shifted to the CAST team. Is that right?
I did. So I got certified in 2016, and then it's been my full-time job, just looking at cell phone records since 2019.
So for the last roughly 6 years, all you do is look at cell phone records?
Every day.
Okay. Can you describe the background of a typical CAST agent?
Yeah, so typical background is an agent or a lead investigator that's worked multiple criminal offenses and have used cell phone records in their cases. So the vast majority of us have been in the Bureau for 6 to 10 years, working cases prior to coming and working CAST.
Can you describe the training you received when you became a CAST agent?
Yeah, so we receive about 400 hours of specialized training in everything from radio wave theory, how does a radio wave move through space, to training directly from the cell phone manufacturers. So we get training directly from Apple, Samsung, LG. They come and teach us how do their phones operate. But probably the most relevant training we receive is from the cellular providers, meaning T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, what used to be Sprint when they were around. They would come in and teach us how does their network work. So from the time you hit that green button to place or receive a call, how is that call routed from towers to other parts of their network? How do they keep records on that routing? And then how would we as CAST team members use those records to get an general area of a device when it had activity on the network?
Did that training include an exam?
It does. So we have both a practical hands-on and a written exam in which you have to score 80 or above in both.
And did you receive any additional training or certifications?
So we get recertified every year. So again, I went through my initial training in 2016, but every year we get all the CAST team together, and again we bring in members from various cell phone providers. Well, all the cell phone providers, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, and they teach us the latest and greatest of what's going on within their network. So when is 3G going away? When's 5G voice going to be everywhere? So that way when we come and testify, like I'm doing today, we have the latest and greatest information directly from the cell phone companies. And again, we do that every year.
Would it be fair to say that for the most part they're very cooperative?
Extremely, yes.
Okay. And with respect to cellular technology utilized by major cellular providers in the United States, are you familiar with those?
I am, and again, we get that training initially when you go through training, but then every year you get recertified and get information directly from the providers, so yes.
Are you familiar with the record-keeping practices used by the different providers?
Yes, that's part of our training as well.
Do they all use the exact same practices, or do they have different ones?
They do not. They all use different methods. Now, their spreadsheets all look different, or some of them are even different formats, not Excel, but they all contain relatively the same information, and that's what allows us to map that information.
Do you provide any training in this area yourself to others?
I do. So I teach what's called a CAST Basic course, which is a 2-day introduction course to law enforcement all throughout the United States. I've probably taught that maybe 24 times. I've also taught at our advanced course, and I'm part of our certification cadre where I teach testimony prep. I've also instructed in overseas locations. I handle the Caribbean, which isn't terrible. So I go to the Caribbean and conduct training. I've also conducted training in Mexico and the Ukraine before the war started.
What is historical call detail analysis?
Yeah, so by law, all the cell providers, meaning T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, they have to keep a record of every mobile device on their network. And they do this in what's called call detail records, or CDRs for short. So think of that CDR as like the old school phone bill when we used to get like a paper copy, right? It'd have our number, the other number we talked to, the date and time of the conversation, the other phone number associated with that conversation. But it also includes other information that is relevant and useful to the cellular providers and to law enforcement. And that is the cell phone tower and the sector or side of the tower that's used for every single call, text, or data session on your network. In addition to the CDRs, the phone companies have to keep what's called a tower list. So it is what it sounds like. It's basically a list of every cell phone tower that they have in the United States. So if we're talking about T-Mobile, that list contains every tower location for T-Mobile based on the date that we looked at. And then it breaks down each tower into the sides. So it'll say, hey, tower 123 is located at this specific spot on the earth. Side number 1 points in, at 0 degrees or north. Side number 2, 120 degrees. Side number 3, 240 degrees. So what historical call detail analysis is taking the call detail records when an activity occurred, like a call or a text, putting that together with the tower locations, where are those towers located that were used, and by putting those two things together, we can get a general location of where a device was when it had a call, a text, or a data session on the network.
Okay. Are there more or less towers in different parts of the country?
Yeah, so tower placement is really based upon population. So where more people live and more people work, there's going to be a need for more cell phone towers because more people are using phones. So like downtown Savannah, there's going to be more towers than there would be in rural parts of this county where maybe the population isn't as high. So tower density or tower location is done by the amount of customers they need to service. More customers, more towers.
Who makes that determination?
Yeah, that's the network itself, meaning folks from T-Mobile, Verizon, they look at their network and see, oh, hey, they just built this brand new apartment complex in this certain area. Our call volume on this one tower is really high. Let's add another tower or change some things within their network. So the network, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, are always reviewing what's going on within their network and making changes as necessary.
Do you have tower lists based on timeframes?
Yes. So the cellular providers will send a list of cellular towers during a time period. So whenever they make a change to their network, normally it's every couple months or quarterly sometimes, they'll send a list into NDCAC, which is National Domestic Communications Assistance Center. It's basically the repository of all tower lists. So when AT&T makes a change, they'll send in their new tower list. All of those tower lists are kept all the way back to 2010. So if we need to analyze an incident that occurred, let's say in 2019, we can go to that repository and pull the towers as they were in 2019. So we're not relying on a current tower list of 2025.
Okay. And approximately how many times have you performed historical call detail analysis?
Yeah, so again, this has been my full-time job since 2019, so thousands of records. I look at records every single day, sometimes numerous records, and in all kinds of cases.
What types of cases do you use cellular analysis for?
Yeah, so the vast majority are going to be criminal cases because my requests will come in from DA's offices or sheriffs or police departments. But we can also use it anytime you need to locate a device. So about 6 months ago, we had a individual, a teen, who texted his parents, said, "Hey, I got a bunch of pills. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to commit suicide by taking these pills." So they contacted me. We were able to get cell phone records for this individual and basically map out a location of a search area for law enforcement to go and find them. So again, we can use this technique anytime you need to locate a device. So all kinds of cases.
What agencies can request CAS services?
Yeah, we support other federal partners like DEA, ATF, but also any state and local agencies. So any law enforcement agency that needs assistance can request it. And again, we also do some overseas analysis. I handle the Caribbean. I've done work in Mexico, the UK, and the Ukraine before the war.
Have you or CAST generally ever conducted an analysis where the person accused of a crime has been eliminated or cleared as a result of your review?
Yes, it's it's quite often. Obviously, I get records from a police department, let's say, and they'll say, "Hey, here's the records. Can you review them? Here's our incident location in Atlanta. Our suspect says that he was in Florida at the time of the incident." So I'll review the records and verify either that the device, the cell phone, was in the location of the crime, or help prove an alibi location of them being somewhere else, which happens quite often. And so with that, then those people would eventually be eliminated or cleared as potential suspects.
Is your analysis reviewed by anyone else after you perform it?
It is. So once I make the initial and draft analysis of the case is sent to another CAST certified individual, all the original records. They review my report and the original records to verify that I didn't map a tower in a wrong location or use the wrong tower, those kinds of things. We then review their feedback before we make a final report, which is what will be presented today in trial.
Have you ever testified as an expert in court before?
I have.
How many times approximately?
About 120 different times in 10 different states.
And have you presented the results of your cellular analysis in court before as well?
I have.
What methodology did you use in forming your opinion?
Yeah, so just like we talked about historical call detail analysis, right? Looking at the CDRs, basically the phone bill plus the tower information, putting that together with the tower list, putting those two things together to get a general location of where a device was when it had an activity, a call, text, or data session on the network.
Are your results peer reviewed? I believe that's what you just described. Is that correct?
I did. Yes, they are.
Okay. And have you ever been denied expert status in a court of law?
I have not. No.
Have you been qualified as an expert in the field of cellular device location information?
I have.
Approximately how many times? Is that the 120 you were referring to?
Yeah, every time I've testified, so approximately 120 times.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would seek to introduce Special Agent Burney as an expert in the field of cellular device location information.
Any objection? Absolutely no objection. He's so qualified to give his opinions.
You may proceed.
Thank you. In anticipation of your testimony here today, did you prepare a report concerning your analysis?
I did.
And would it be fair to say that was in the form of a PowerPoint, essentially?
It is.
Okay. Can you tell us what is the technology concerning cell site data? What is it that a cell phone does?
Yeah, so, when a cell phone's on, it's, always scanning the environment, looking for the strongest, clearest, the best signal. So when you're ready to use it for a call, a text, or a data session, the phone knows which tower has the best signal. So the phone chooses the tower with the best signal. Once you complete your activity, be it a call, a text, or a data session, That activity then goes onto the call detail records, that CDR, so the phone bill basically. And then we can use that information again to locate the towers and sectors used and form our opinion of the general location of a device.
Why do the phone companies keep that information?
Yeah, so they keep it to optimize their network. So what we're looking at is billing records. So all of these are billing records, or business records, excuse me, that are kept by the providers in order to optimize their network. Meaning, they want to know where are calls being placed are. Where are their dropped calls? Do I need to add a cell phone tower because now there's all of a sudden all these customers in a certain area? So they use these CDRs every day to optimize the customer experience.
And does your phone always use the closest tower?
It doesn't necessarily always use it. Again, it's based on a bunch of things that come into play, but it's using the best signal. Now, it uses the closest tower the vast majority of times. Like very minimally does it use a tower that's not the closest, but it can.
Can you tell us what a drive test is?
Yeah, so a drive test is a test, an additional analysis step that we could use in CAST. And
Be seated. All right, we ready? All right, we can bring the jury in. All right, everyone, please be seated. Counsel, you may continue.
Thank you. Agent Bernie, I believe when we left off, you were on slide number 2. Can you tell us what information you provided here in this slide?
yeah, so this slide just shows how I was involved. So I got asked to review the records and conduct the analysis by the GBI, and given, again, the 3 cellular device records and the car records to analyze. And then it discusses the methodology, again, using the call detail records and the tower list, putting those things together to get a general area of where a device is. And then it just says, the conclusions will be mapped out on the next slides.
Okay. And can you tell us what is a cell tower?
Yeah, so cell phones connect to what we want to do kind of really through 2 different ways. One, obviously, is we can put our phones in Wi-Fi mode, right, and connect via Wi-Fi. And the second way is through cellular networks, so through cell phone towers. What we're going to look at today is the phone's interactions all through this cellular network, which is the vast majority of how cell phones communicate and conduct their business in the United States. So what this is here is on the left-hand side are the most common cell phone towers. That monopole, a tall lattice tower, the guy wire tower, very common in this area because it's a very tall tower that can cover a vast majority of area. And then there's also the structural towers, so basically putting antennas on the sides of buildings or water towers in order to make towers and sectors off of that. Everything on the right-hand side is also a cell phone tower. Now, there's no fake cactuses here in Hinesville, but what that shows is that not all cell phone towers are created equal. Some are really, really tall, like the guy wire tower. Some are small, like this fake cactus in Phoenix, Arizona, that's meant to service just a park where they have concerts and other kinds of things like that. So that's what is shown here.
Now, on the top of this, it refers to cell tower sectors. Can you explain to us what a sector is on a tower?
Yeah, so the vast majority of cell phone towers in the United States are what we call sectorized towers, and most of which, the vast majority, probably about 95% of sectorized towers, are three-sided sectors or towers. So remember when I said the phone company would put a tower in an area to provide coverage in that area? Well, in order to provide more spots for users, they take that one tower and they divide it up into three equal sides or sectors. And that gives more spots for customers to enter the tower, basically, or enter their service. So if a tower covers 360 degrees, a full circle, you divide that by three sides, so 360 divided by 3 makes each side approximately 120 degrees, which is kind of what you see here on the bottom left. You have like the red side, the blue side, and then the green side. Well, we find out or determine how a sector points directly from the tower list. So again, if I'm analyzing, I look at the call detail records, I see Jay Bernie's phone used AT&T tower 234. I'll go to the tower list. I look out where is 234 because their tower list is uniquely numbered, meaning no number is used twice. So if we're looking for a specific tower, we can go to the tower list and know exactly where that tower is. It's like a fingerprint on their network. Well, not only does it, again, provide the location of the tower, but it says the azimuth or the orientation of the side or the sector. So if we look at the illustration in the middle, again, we see the tower. That's that triangle white shape in the middle. If we're looking at sector number 1, we go to the tower list. It shows sector number 1 points towards 0 degrees or north. So if we know that sector is 120 degrees, from north we can go 60 degrees to the left, put our red line, which we see in the illustration, go 60 degrees to the right, put our other red line, and that gives us the approximate left and right boundaries of that sector. And on the right-hand side, kind of the bottom right, you'll see how it will show on the map. Again, you have the red line on the left, red line on the right. Where those two red lines meet, kind of the point of the V, it's hard to see, but there's a green dot. That's the cell phone tower. And we know that in our example, the phone used the north side. Or did I touch something?
No, I did. I was trying to zoom for you. It doesn't.
On the north side, so we know the approximate or the general area of where that device is. One thing to note is you'll see kind of there's some red shading in between the two arms. That just shows you the sides of the V that we're looking at. It doesn't say that's the coverage area of the tower. It's not meant to say that's where the phone is within that small area. It's just saying with these two lines of the V, the side that's connected, that's the side we're looking at.
Now, do phone companies share towers?
Yeah, so a cell phone tower can be put in an area, again, where they want to provide coverage. And a lot of our cell phone towers, the actual location is owned by a third party. So this third party will go and put up a pole and say, who wants to put their antennas or who wants to put sectors on the sides of this tower? Maybe AT&T comes and says, hey, we want the top. We want our antennas there. Then T-Mobile says, hey, next level down, we want to put some antennas too. So a tower can be shared by more than one provider. The pole can be shared. But phones are like children, right? We tell children, don't talk to strangers. Well, that's exactly with a cell phone, right? T-Mobile only talks to T-Mobile. AT&T only talks to AT&T.
Can you tell us what's depicted in slide page 5?
So what this is this is just an example of call-out boxes that we'll see. So for every cell phone tower mapped, there's going to be a box that like this. So the box will have information directly from the call detail records. One thing to note is that this is just an example. There's not a 678 area code within our case. This is just an example put up there. But in the top, we see CID. That stands for cell ID. So what that is that's that unique cell phone tower number. 732392 is the tower number. And then the -16 is the side and the height or tier of that antenna on the pole. Underneath that, you'll see the date. Again, an example, not for our case, but this was an April 2019 example. Underneath that will be the phone number that's mapped, and then the activity time will be to the right of it in local time. So not all cell phone records are kept in local time. In fact, T-Mobile and AT&T, the ones we're going to look at the most, are kept in what's called UTC time, so a different time. So we have to convert that time. But I say that just to say all the times that you'll see in my analysis are in local Eastern time. And then I'll say the type of activity. All of our activity in this case are data sessions, meaning either the cell phone or the vehicle, the cell phone within the vehicle, or reaching out to the network and exchanging some kind of data on the network. The next number on the right shows, in this example, 122. That's the compass direction of the sector used, meaning if we're looking at sector number 1, in this case, we know the middle of it is 122. That's where the middle of the sector used is. And then if there was a phone call, the other number would be listed on the right. Again, everything we're going to look at is data sessions. And then you'll see at the kind of the top right there of that blue square rectangle is a yellow circle with a number 4, and that's just a reference number. So if there's more than one tower shown on my map, there'll be a call-out box for tower number 1, a call-out box for tower number 2, 3, and 4, so forth and so on.
Does that provide sequencing?
It does.
Okay. And did you in fact analyze some data?
I did.
I'm going to slide number 6 at this point. Can you tell us what's depicted here?
Yeah, so again, these are the cell phones and associated users that I was given for each of the numbers, and then their providers. So, obviously the vehicle, its phone located within the vehicle was using AT&T, as was the blue phone of Mindi, and then had a red phone, which was a Verizon phone, associated with Nicholas Kassotis, and then another phone associated with Nicholas Kassotis was a T-Mobile phone, kind of shown here in yellow or orange.
Were all 4 of those devices mapped?
They were.
Okay. Ultimately, were you asked to map specific dates in conjunction with this case?
Yeah, so I reviewed the records for every one of these. And then I focused my analysis on important dates, times, and locations that I was asked to by the investigators.
And did you have any mappable activity for the Verizon device and the blue device associated with Mindi Kassotis?
I did not. So the device ending in 8328, the red device, and the blue device ending in 0847 had no activity during the times I reviewed, so you won't see any of their analysis because there was no activity to map.
So those 2 phones are not part in any way of this presentation?
That's correct.
Okay. And now I'm going to slide 7. Can you tell us what's depicted here?
So again, depicted here is cell phone towers and locations of interest that I was asked to review. One thing to note is you'll see a lot of blue dots and a lot of green dots on here. The blue dots are AT&T towers, and the green dots are T-Mobile towers. Again, you can kind of see what we talked about. In locations where there's more people live and more people work, there's lots of towers together. Look at the downtown Savannah area, right? Towers look like they're right on top of each other. As opposed to you go to more rural parts of this, you'll see that towers get farther apart because there's less people. But on the left-hand side is all the locations that I was asked to review.
Did you also review another location that is referenced with an HD?
I did, Home Depot.
Okay, can you tell us, what do you do when you get an address from a law enforcement agency seeking to map it?
Yeah, so let's say at the top, right, I was given a Bass Pro Shops address and said, hey, can you add this in your analysis? Well, I look up the Bass Pro in the area, make sure that that address is correct, and then that address does exist and where it is approximate to the Bass Pro. So I look at the map, make sure the address puts the marker exactly where Bass Pro is. If I have a place like a residence where, you know, I can't look up, hey, residence for somebody, you know, such and such, and put that up there. I just take that address and I put it in and verify that that is a legitimate address, and then place the marker on the map.
Okay, and with respect to the other locations, meaning the B1 torso recovered, B2 head recovered, all of those below it, what are those numbers underneath that?
Yeah, so those are latitude and longitude spots. So the investigators, when they found such an item, they would mark the location where that item was recovered, the specific location. So it's basically a GPS coordinate of where that object is or was recovered. Like in the pumping station is located at that specific latitude and longitude.
And did those also get dropped onto this map?
They did. And you can kind of see them all kind of bunched together on the bottom kind of portion of the map with underneath the KF there. Since a lot of these locations are in a closer proximity, they kind of all bunched together on this slide.
And why are they all bunched together in this fashion?
Yeah, because I wanted this slide to show all of the locations from, you know, the Home Depot down to the area where the body parts and the pumping station were. I wanted all on one slide. So that made some of the locations kind of overlap since they are closer together.
I'm going to show you now slide number 8. Can you tell us first, what date and time range were you mapping on this slide?
Yeah, can I orient them to how the
Sure.
slide's laid out?
Of course.
Okay, so at the very top, you'll see the date and time period of the slide. So each slide is like a snapshot of time. So this covers obviously November 28th, 2022, between 1:12 p.m. and 1:31 p.m. The next couple slides will be ongoing time periods. So this slide just covers that one time period. At the top left, you'll see the phone number and then again the vehicle that I mapped activity from its call detail records. Underneath that, again, you see green dots, T-Mobile towers, blue dots, AT&T towers. On the far right-hand side, near the top, you see the residence and then the Bass Pro, basically those rectangles. Those are important locations that I was asked to review the phones during this time period as it pertained to those locations of interest.
Can you tell us when the call-out boxes, what is relevant in call-out box number 1?
Yeah, so again, you see 1, and you see it has the yellow circle with the black number 1, and then you see the towers listed there. And then if you look underneath there, you see the activity. So again, the vehicle had a data session that initiated at 1:12 using that tower and sector you see there. And then there's several data sessions from the 4570 cell phone, one at 1:14, 2 at 1:14, and 2, it looks like at 126, I think. Hold on. Oh, it's correction, 128.
So these are local time, you said, correct?
These are all in local time.
Okay, so that number 1 where we see the sector that you were referring to, they were previously the 2 red lines, they are now, is that black?
One is black for the
Right.
vehicle, and then the other is that yellow or orange for the cell phone.
Okay, and is that call-out box that's in the bottom right of that slide, is that depicted somewhere else on the map itself?
It is. It's showing the towers from number 1.
So what is that letter B reference?
The B, as you can see on the top right, is the Bass Pro Shops.
So what conclusions were you able to draw from the call-out box number 1 and the tower number 1?
Yeah, that both the vehicle and the cell phone, ending in 4570, had data sessions that used towers and sectors that were in close proximity to the Bass Pro Shops between 1:12 and 1:28 p.m.
And were you asked to look at that specific time for a reason?
I was, and you can kind of see the snapshot on the left-hand side. I was told that there was a purchase, and attached is a copy of a receipt. Kind of see on the left-hand side there. And the time listed on the receipt is November 28th, 2022 at 13:23, which is 1:23 Eastern Time.
Okay. PM.
Correct.
And was that consistent with what you found in Tower 1, Box Call-Out 1 as well?
It is.
And can you tell us what is in Call-Out Box 2?
Yeah, so again, 2 is a different tower and sector, and we see that the vehicle had a data session at 1:31, and that vehicle is now appears to have moved northbound away from the tower it used at 1:12. At 1:31, the vehicle appears to have traveled north from its original location.
Can you tell us, just so we're clear, what exactly is a data session?
Yeah, so a data session is on a device, anything from one of 2 things. It can be user-generated, right? We can be on there surfing the internet, streaming audio or video, but it can also be refreshing. So things in the background of your phone refreshing. So if you're like me, in your Internet Explorer, however you get to the internet on your phone, if you open it up, I got like 40 tabs underneath there, right? I don't close things out. I don't know. But some of those things refresh as the phone sits there. So that would be a data session. The phone interacting with the tower, transmitting data back and forth. So we can see the tower and sector used during that data session. Well, that's the same with the vehicle, right? Vehicles, some interact and chat. Yes.
Why did you map that area without telling us what was said?
Yeah, I mapped that area because there was video of a Ford Explorer collected near that pumping station, which is the pink box with the letters PS in it.
And where is that PS in relation to Tower 4?
You see it in the middle of the map. Again, Tower 4 and the sector used is the closest tower and sector, AT&T wise, to the pumping station.
And with that vehicle identification number for that 2022 Ford Explorer data, put that where in relationship to the pumping station?
Yeah, so again, it used the data on tower number 4 between 10:21 and 11:54.
Thank you. I'm now going to slide 12. Can you tell us what this depicts?
Yeah, so this is between 12:07 and 3:03 p.m. and it basically shows the first interaction is at 12:07 from the orange, basically the cell phone, at tower number 1, and then you can see interactions between the phone and the car and various towers as the device and vehicle move northbound, most likely on I-95, and then eventually there's a vehicle data session at 2:03 in the vicinity of the residence.
Now, just to be clear, this box, the call-out box number 1, that reflected what time?
12:07 p.m.
Is that the cellular device itself, the phone, or is that the car?
That is the cellular device.
And I'm going back one moment to slide 11. When was the last time the phone was captured in the vicinity, time-wise, of this area?
12:03 p.m.
And so that gap of time that you were referring to, when did that attribute to? What time?
Between 10:15 a.m. and 12:03 p.m. on the 29th.
So that's when there were no data sessions,
Correct.
on the phone to be specific.
Correct.
Were there those data sessions we just described on the vehicle though?
Yes, you see that in most of those we're using tower number 4, the sector shown.
Would that be about in the middle of the screen?
It is, that's correct.
Now going back to slide 12, can you tell if there's anything relevant about specifically call-out box 8 with respect to the vehicle data session?
Yeah, so again, that's a tower and sector in the vicinity of the residence, and the number 740384, that tower number is the same one we saw on page number 9, kind of zoomed in, the one that was closest to the residence.
And that would be the same tower that was picking up on both of those times?
Same tower, yes.
I'm now going to talk to you a little bit about the drive testing. You indicated that you did do drive testing,
I did.
okay? And can you tell us where specifically you drove tested?
Yeah, so I specifically wanted to map out 4 different towers to make sure we understood the footprint of those towers on the dates in November of 2022.
Okay, and so tower number, I'm on now slide number 14. What did you display here?
Yeah, so again, at the top, it shows that we drove test an AT&T tower. You see the cell ID, so it's the same 740350-224. And you'll see on the left-hand side, that's the same call-out box that was shown on the previous slide, page number 11. And it was tower number 5 on that slide. And then on the right-hand side, we still have the locations of interest, all the body parts plus the pumping station. And then I show all the blue dots for AT&T devices. So this kind of amoeba that we're looking at here shows the footprint of the coverage area. So the dark purple in the middle is what we would call a dominant coverage area. So it's the strongest coverage area for that tower and sector. You'll see on the boundaries of the dark purple is light purple. That's that coverage area, or the overlap area. Remember how I said there's overlap between towers and sectors? So we see some of that overlap area would be the light pink or purple kind of area listed there. So this goes to show that the coverage area for this tower, represented by the yellow circle number 5, and you'll see the coverage area includes everything underneath it, plus locations around where the body parts were discovered.
Would it be fair then to say whether this does or does not provide coverage from that vehicle to the vicinity where those parts were recovered at those times?
It does.
And
some of them were in the overlap area, but yes, there's overall coverage to that area from this tower represented by number 5.
And I'm now looking at slide number 15. Can you tell us what's depicted here?
So again, I looked at the AT&T tower, 740626-17, and you'll see on the left-hand side, I pulled a call-out box from page number 11, and the tower number kept it the same, tower number 4. And so you'll see the times that that tower is used between 10:21 and 11:54. And then you see the coverage area. So in this case, it's represented by yellow. So the dark yellow, basically the center of the tower and sector, is the dominant coverage area for that tower. And then the lighter yellow would be some of that overlap area.
What is your opinion as to the vicinity of the Ford 2022 Ford with respect to 10:21 a.m. to 11:54 a.m. on November 29th of 2022?
Yeah, during the time periods listed on the left, which were those time periods, you'll see the dominant coverage area, which is the most likely location of this device, i.e. the Ford, during those time periods.
And now there are two additional drive test areas in these slides, is that correct? Or
There are.
actually three. Did you test other waypoints?
I did. So I also tested 2 T-Mobile towers for the device. The device ending in 4570, which is the cell phone. So again, you'll see at the top, T-Mobile cell 273477-3. You can see on the bottom right-hand side that it's the same tower number. And you'll see this tower and sector was used at 10:04 and 10:05 p.m. on the 29th.
And those times were with respect to the device itself as opposed to the car?
Correct.
Okay. I'm now going to slide 17. Can you tell us what's depicted there?
Yeah, so again, drive tests for the T-Mobile device, cell phone tower 268-339-61. You'll see the call out box on the left-hand side. There's activities at 10:15, 2 of them, and 12:03, 2 of them. And then you can see this is represented in blue. The dark spot is the dominant area, and then the light blue is that overlap area with other towers.
Now the phone at this point, was that captured during that gap in time?
It was not. So there's no activity on the phone between 10:15 and 12:03 p.m.
Were there any phone calls or text messages at all?
No. So in my review of the call detail records, there's no phone calls or text messages during the time periods I reviewed.
So from the period that is in each of those call-out boxes, there are no other phone calls or text messages?
That's correct.
If I can have just one moment. No, I can just tell me what you want me to go to.
Good afternoon, Agent Bernie.
Good afternoon, sir.
It's good to see you again. It's
Good
been
to
a
see
few
you.
months. Can we go to slide 6, please? Okay. Agent Bernie, this is slide 6 that you prepared, correct?
It is.
And you say that there is no mappable activity during the analyzed period for the 8828 Verizon number, correct?
Yeah, so listed on the bottom, it does say 8828. That's actually a typo. It's supposed to read 8328.
Oh, I wasn't trying to point out your typo. So let's just, the 8328 number has no mappable data.
That's
This
correct.
period. And the 0847 number also has no mappable data, correct?
That's correct.
And from that information, you can't infer that the phone was turned off necessarily, correct?
No, you can't. So especially on the 8328, on the other one, we could maybe see if there were calls incoming. I don't recall if there were calls incoming that went to voicemail. So it is possible to see if a device is off the network based on the call detail records. I'll be honest, I don't recall.
That's fine. Let me put it another way. Could the phone number 8328 been put into airplane mode, for example?
Yes, it could have.
Could it have been put into what you are calling Wi-Fi mode, for example?
It could have pulled it off the network, yes.
And when you say Wi-Fi mode, what do you mean by that? Would you explain that to the jury?
Yeah, so Wi-Fi mode is basically pulling the cell phone device off the cellular network and using it only for Wi-Fi calling. So you would only have service when you have Wi-Fi, internet through Wi-Fi.
So if the 8328 number is connected to Wi-Fi, if it's in Wi-Fi mode, it could still be having data communications, correct?
That's correct.
It could be surfing the internet, correct?
Absolutely.
It could be sending and receiving messages, not SMS, not phone messages, but it could be sending and receiving messages in other ways, correct?
Correct.
It could be using Signal to send and receive messages, correct?
Signal, correct, and iMessages.
And iMessages. And the same for the 4570 number, correct? If it was in Wi-Fi mode, it could also be engaging in data communications.
That's correct. Any device taken off of the network, as long as you still have internet in Wi-Fi mode, you can use it. I mean, it's basically a computer, right, in the palms of our hand.
Let's go to slide 9, please. Thank you. Can we look at that Home Depot location that you have marked on this slide for a moment? Cell tower CID 7403848-8. That's the one with the number 1. That's an AT&T tower, correct?
It is.
And then also cell tower number 3, CID 74408-9. That's also an AT&T tower, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
And what is that tower directly above the label HD on the map? What kind of tower is that?
That's another AT&T blue dot. So it's another AT&T tower in there.
Okay. And it appears that the blue dot above the HD is closer than the number 3, the cell tower mark 3, correct?
It does, yep.
Do you know why, when you're sitting here, and I know you don't have all your information, but do you know why the cell phone may have been hitting off of or pinging the tower we'll call the number 3 tower versus the tower above the HD?
Yeah, so again, remember when I started and we showed pictures of towers, not every tower is created equal, right? So some towers are really tall and some could be really short. My guess is the blue dot above HD is meant to service the traffic as it goes through 80 there and then whatever that cross street is there. So it could be a smaller tower that's meant to cover a smaller area than tower number 3. I don't recall the height of tower number 3 off the top of my head.
But again, as you, I think, testified on your direct, you don't always necessarily hit the closest tower, correct?
Yeah, not always. The vast majority of time we do, but not always.
Can we go to slide 11, please? Thank you. Now, on slide 11, if you look at the box labeled 3, for I guess we'll just call it cell tower 3 at this point, that is the one where the cell phone is pinging off of tower 3, correct? It's connecting to tower 3.
Correct.
And there is that gap between 10:15 and 12:03, correct?
That's correct.
So all you know from it not hitting between 10:15 and 12:03 is that it's not connecting to that tower, correct?
It's not connecting to any tower during 10:15 and 12:03.
Thank you for clarifying that. Not connecting to any tower. Do you know whether the cell phone is on or off by looking at this data?
Not specifically just looking at those two things, no. But again, I was asked to take a look and analyze the records in its entirety. So between 10:15 and 12:03 is a longer period of time than what was normal for the vehicle, correction, for the cell phone to check in with data sessions.
But-
So I can't specifically say that the device is off. All I can say is that that time period seems much longer than normal for the device.
Can we please go to slide 14? Let me ask you about the drive tests. It sounds like, but I want to make sure. Are you the one that conducted the drive tests?
I am.
Okay. When did you conduct the drive tests?
It was in 2023, end of 2023. I think October of 2023.
Okay, so approximately, we'll say, 10 months after.
Correct. Yeah,
after
it was
these
somewhere
events?
just under a year. Correct.
And when you, well, let me ask another question then. The cell towers that you are showing on all of your slides in your presentation, are those the way the towers exist today, back in 2022, in 2023? When are those cell towers in existence?
Yeah, so the towers shown on the maps are all from 2022, November of 2022.
Okay, but the mapping you did was 10 months later, correct?
The drive tests.
Drive
Correct.
test.
Yes.
But based on your knowledge, training, and experience, you believe that that drive test would also be accurate for back in this time frame that you're analyzing in late 2022, correct?
Correct, yeah. And part of the reason I say yes is because I review the tower lists from 2023, November time period, to when I drove test, which again, I believe was November of 2022, when the incident is, to when I drove test in 2023. I reviewed those two tower lists to see if there were any changes in the area in which I'm going to drive test. So if there's been a change and now there's 5 more towers in the middle of that area, then doing a drive test would be no good, right? Because we're going to get the things that are today or the time period in 2023, not back in 2022. So I reviewed those two tower lists to make sure that there wasn't any tower changes in both AT&T and T-Mobile in the area in which I drove test.
Okay. And remaining on slide 14, you have the AT&T, which is, I believe is the vehicle, correct?
It is.
You have the AT&T pinging off the tower 5, at 10:33:59 a.m., correct?
That's correct.
Where within that purple area is the vehicle? At 10:33:59 a.m.
Yeah, I can't say specifically where. All I can say is that it is most likely in the dominant or darker colored coverage area.
So you don't know, looking at this data that you've received from AT&T, that the vehicle was anywhere near where the torso was recovered, for example?
Well, your term anywhere
Well, okay,
near.
let me be more
yeah,
specific.
Yeah.
Can you tell whether it was within a mile of there by looking at this drive map?
I can say that it could have been. I can't say with definity that it was. Because
It could
again,
also-
you can.
I'm sorry, I want to let you finish.
Yeah, because again, you can see the coverage area. So it's somewhere within the darker shaded, most likely, because the other is some overlap area between those two.
And I don't have a pointer that works on this, but it could also be at the southernmost area of the dominant area that you've highlighted in the darker purple, correct?
It could have been, but I'd say it's probably not, more so because of the activity around these two. So you got 1033 and 1034, Well, it used tower number 4, again, in this slide, the one near Riceboro, which is kind of on the right-hand side, that's tower number 4 right there. So it uses tower number 4 before 1021 and after at 1041. So I would probably put the device in the northern eastern side of the drive test, if you were to ask me based on my training and experience.
But it could be anywhere within the drive test area.
If you look solely at the drive test results and not the other things together, then yes, it could have been anywhere within it. But you also have to look at the things on the outside.
I understand.
Yeah.
If we could go to slide 15, please. This is the drive test area for cell tower 4, correct?
It is.
And once again, for cell tower 4, that vehicle that has the AT&T, I guess, modem in it, I don't know what to call it, the AT&T cellular transmitter in it, that could be anywhere within the dominant, or even not the dominant region of that you've highlighted here, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I would say based on the amount of times and the time periods in between some of those times, it's most likely in the dominant. If it was in the other, we'd probably see it jumping off of other towers if it was in the overlap period, more so. But yes, it could be anywhere within the dominant shaded area.
So cell tower data like this that you're using, it can tell you regions, areas in which the cell tower could be located, correct?
Yeah, that's why with this data we tend to say general location. I've said it probably 100 times, right? The general location of a device. Because we can't be specific and say it's on this side of the street versus this side of the street with this data we have for this.
But it's not like where I pull out my cell phone and I pull up Google Maps and it shows a point on my cell phone and it says, okay, I am here.
Correct. Yeah, it's not GPS. The phone companies actually don't track your GPS. They don't care where you are with that definitive amount of purpose. Now, an app or Google may, but the phone company is looking at the towers and sectors that you use.
Thank you very much, Special Agent Bernie.
Thanks, sir.
No redirect.
All right. Thank you, Agent. You're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes. If I could see counsel briefly at the bench, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that will conclude today's testimony, but I want to update you on our predictions about the length of this trial. It appears that it's going, and this is based on discussions I've had with the attorneys. We are now optimistic that the presentation of evidence will end in the next couple of days. I can't tell you exactly when, but we think this trial will probably be concluded by the end of the week. I can't guarantee that. I just wanted to bring you up to date. And with regard to scheduling, we have a couple of witnesses that are traveling in from out of town tomorrow. So based on the schedule that the attorneys have indicated to me, you can come in a little later tomorrow. So if you would, be here tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And that will give us time to have some of these out-of-town witnesses get here. So have a good evening. Again, I ask you to please abide by the instructions with regard to access to media accounts, and we will see you again tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. All right, the jury's out. We're adjourned until tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Your Honor, can we approach this moment?